Police and EMS heads to the scene and find a woman deceased inside a Mercedes. When detectives arrive, Rogers, who's lead on this case, observed the car and noticed a car seat, so they wondering was a kid inside the car also. She's identified as Lelia Smith, born in Virginia, then moved to Mobile. She was 27 years old. In her early 20s, Lelia played amateur football. She leaves behind 2 young daughters. Lelia was hit with the UWOP through and through on the left side of the head. The evidence shows that someone made her look away, then hit her with the UWOP. Detectives also noticed suitcases in the back. Maybe she was trying to leave somebody. Then they find a casing next to the suitcase. It's a .45, and she had loud in her hand. It was a cigar in an ashtray, a Circle K bag, and a bag of chips in the vehicle also. So they collect the evidence, and hopefully the Circle K in the area will have something on video.
Here, there was a missing person report filed by Lelia's roommate. She stated that Lelia normally gets home around 5:30 a.m. It was 2 p.m. when the missing persons report was filed. So detectives go meet with her. She states Lelia is normally home around 5:30 a.m. because that's the time Cookies and Cream closed, the club where she dances at. So Rogers asks her about Lelia's child because there was a car seat in the vehicle. She says the child is with her mama. She also gives Detective Rogers Lelia's phone number so they could check her phone records. And she states that Kenny Campbell, Lelia's baby daddy, stayed there last night also. He's the father of her youngest daughter. He's married in his 50s. He also has a key to the apartment.
Get the phone records of Lelia and see she called Kenny at 3:38 a.m. and he calls her back at 6:01 a.m. but it goes to voicemail. So they now have a time frame when Lelia was hit with the UWOP. So they contact Kenny. He comes to the station. He said that he arrived at the club around midnight. He stayed about 3 hours because he wasn't feeling good, and that was around 3 a.m. He left and Lelia called him, so he told her that he was headed to the apartment. She says she'll be there after she do a jug.
Jug is just a way to finesse somebody out of extra money. A little side hustle. A jug can also get you caught up.
Kenny then says the kids woke him up and said their mom wasn't home yet. So he left to go to work. The roommate was there with the kids. Rogers asked Kenny where does he work. Kenny said gotta go. He delivered porta potties. So Rogers asked Kenny did he ever go back to the apartment. He said yes, but when he got there her bed was flipped over and a dresser drawers was pulled out. So they wrapped that interview up.
Well, Rogers doesn't believe Kenny Campbell had anything to do with it. But Corporal Nick has a feeling that the scene seemed staged to him. He said her keys was in the vehicle with her. So how did anyone get into the apartment? The only one who had keys to the apartment was Kenny, the roommate, and Lelia.
Apartment to examine the scene. There was no forced entry and the door had 3 locks on it. The apartment is ransacked, but detectives feel like it looks staged. It's too messy for a normal break-in. So they decide to look Kenny up in a database and see a felony conviction for drug possession. Now they list Kenny as a person of interest. Rogers head over to Cookies and Cream, where Lelia worked, to get the video footage, hoping that the footage would show who she left the club with. The next day, detectives head to Kenny's job to see if his story lines up with what he told them. Kenny's employer verifies his story about working Saturday morning. So they head back to the station and start reviewing the video from Cookies and Cream.
There she is. That's definitely Kenny. That's a plain one. It actually was at 3:35 is when Kenny left.
Kenny then retrieves the UWOP and hands it to the manager of the club. Detectives see that it's not the UWOP used to hit Lelia because that was a 4.5. But they still want to speak with the manager of the club about that situation. So Kenny leaves the lot. About 2 minutes later, Lelia leaves. That was 3:37. The phone call she made to Kenny was at 3:38. and they talked for 10 minutes. So detectives believe they met up and something went down. Now, since Kenny is a felon, and the fact that he's on video passing someone to UWAP give them enough to get a search warrant for his house. So
Club manager stops by the station and tell Rogers that Kenny was cleaning his rifle for him, and that's why he was at Kenny's truck to retrieve it. He also states Lelia is like family to him. If he know or hear anything, he would definitely let them know.
He hit Kenny's house with a search warrant and find a 9.380 rifle and boxes of ammo. Parked in a driveway was a Mercedes SUV with another UWAP in it. Then Kenny's wife shows up. Rogers tell her about the incident with the woman being found in the vehicle and let her know that that's Kenny's baby mother. The wife also mentioned that Kenny had an ex-wife who was also hit with the UWAP and is deceased. So they leave Kenny's wife a card. The next day they get video from the Circle K near Lelia's apartment. At 3:54, a car resembling Lelia stops at the pump. A guy gets out and heads in Circle K. It's Kenny. This is 17 minutes after Lelia left the club. He purchased barbecue Lay's chips that they found in the vehicle and got back in Lelia's car and left.
Lelia's mom calls. She tells Roger a story about Lelia and Kenny, an incident where Kenny got up and left, told Lelia to stay on the couch till he get back. Moments after that, the UWAP let loose and all the rounds hit the couch where Lelia would have been sitting, but she was smart enough to get up. But the mom said after that, Kenny was able to convince Lelia to come back with him.
Then they get a break.
Earlier that day, there's a Mercedes parked right here at the shop. The next morning, I look around the corner and there's a car on their way down to the shop. The dead body was found there, and the Mercedes is gone.
So detectives search for the police report of the Mercedes, and it comes back as Kenny's SUV. Now the ATF indict Kenny for possession of the rifle. So they head to Kenny's job and spot his delivery truck. Stop Kenny and take him to custody. He made bond before they were able to talk to him about Lelia. So they get phone records showing that Kenny's location was close to Lelia that morning. They take that information to the DA and get a homicide warrant for Kenny. Rogers get the warrant, and 5 hours later, they get Kenny again. Kenny lawyered up and was charged and convicted of the homicide of Lelia and received a sentence of life without the possibility of parole. Thank you for watching. Leave me some comments. Hit that like button. Hit that thanks button. Stay safe out there. I'm done talking.
This was Lelia when she was a teenager. She was like the little triple threat. She was beautiful, talented, strong. I try to stay as strong as I can for her two daughters.